What's up, Dragon Ball fans? We're back again at Bad Bees with Rashad bringing us
Finn.
What the hell he do?
So Finn, I know he's a newer leader, so a lot of people might not know what he does because people really didn't play it for real or mess with it. When he attacks, you draw. He has an auto. When a card's put under him, you draw a card, take life 2, you go to 6, flip over on the back, activate main. Once per turn, you get to take one of your opponent's battle cards, put it under him. All your energy has to be black. So you can't play it like any other kind of color. Or if you do, you just can't use that awakening condition. You can't do the activate main, which would be the only reason to play the leader is activate main. But his awaken, if you have 4 or less life, you just draw 2 and flip him. So if your opponent doesn't play battle cards, which I had to do this a couple times a day, was like you just swing, draw, and then normal awaken, draw 2, flip him.
Ain't that bad.
On the back, he has a permanent. He gets 5k for each card that's under him. He has his auto, which is the same as the other one. You just activate and you draw a card, and then you steal one of their cards, and you can get one of the keyword skills off of it. And if you make the card, if you've already taken a card and you take the same card again, you still get the skills off that card because the leader just checks for the skills on the card, not if it's a skillless card or not. So you can't keep stealing the same card to get the same skills over and over. But that's the cool thing about the leader on the back to me is I love leaders that don't have to attack to draw because like once you're on the back, you just get the draw. Like so, if you get hatched or something, you just swing your leader, you still get the draw. And so I went undefeated today with this leader. We only had 3 rounds.
What all you played against?
I played round 1. I played against John Carlo playing Soul Striker. That was 2-1. Now that was a really good game. I wish we would have recorded that one because it was it was a really like heavy grind game. Went to game 3. Round 2, I played against Cody. He played Gotenks. That one was a 2-0, but he bricked game 2, and he literally couldn't fuse the entire game. So
couldn't fuse?
He was missing something the entire game. So that was just game 2. It just went horrible.
Ooh.
And then round 3, I played against Jameer. He played AOD, and I got that one 2-0 because of the sideboard. So
we're gonna get into that, guys. We're gonna talk about it.
I'll explain what happened with that when we get there. But that's the Finn leader.
All right, let's show them the meat and potatoes of this deck.
Alright, so the mirror, or the Finn package cards that I play, it's for the 1-drop Toa. When you play this, you look at the top 5 for a Demon Realm Racer, or Android, 3 costs or below, or a black unison that has specified cost of 2. She has activate main, you can spirit boost 1, pay a black, and put one of your opponent's 4 or less battle cards under your leader. I think this one gets 4 or less, or... No, this one places the one from under your leader in the drop. So if you steal something, you don't want them to get it back, you just use this to put it in the drop.
Bet that.
And then the next, I only played 3 of this Toa because I barely ever actually use it. So it's kind of like hard to just leave the energy up for this negate. It can reduce itself by 1 if your opponent has a skillless battle card or skillless unison, but they normally just get rid of the skillless card so that it's normally cost 2. You also have to spirit boost to use it. But when she's played, you get one of your opponent's 4 or less battle cards and throw it onto your leader. So on your backside, if you negate with this and you steal a card and put it on your leader, your permanent will give your leader +5, like a bean for the turn. So that's like the reason you do want to play this, because against like waterboard, aggro matchups, it can help you being a bean. And then the searchable android that I play that's not a fan card is this 2-drop mirror. So what this mirror does is if you have no battle cards, activate main, you can play them from your hand for free. For 3 energy, you play a 5-drop mirror on top of them. 5-drop mirror we're putting on top of them is explosion of energy. So this guy's got critical and barrier, 25k. When he's played, your opponent warps 2 cards from their hand, and auto once per turn, you warp 2 cards from your hand, negate an attack.
And you can find both of these cards from set 10, Rise of the Fusion Warrior, whatever the name of that set was.
Well, we play that stuff. So of course, since you know I'm playing the mirror stuff, you know like what's next.
Mirror package.
We play this mirror. The TP mirror is just way better. I didn't have them, so didn't get to use them.
If you got them, guys, play them.
If you got the TP mirror, play the TP mirror. Because it does the same thing, but for 1 less energy, and it sets up this easier. So that one, when you play it, you draw a card, warp a card. So you just want to warp these out of your hand. Because both of them have the same Union Absorb. Because over round 3, Union Absorb, you pay 4, absorb a Toa from the warp, play a 7-drop mirror from your hand or warp on top of them.
In pain.
And you want them in the warp so you're not losing the card from your hand. But sometimes, most of the time, like you just have to do them from your hand because it's kind of hard to get them in the warp without just comboing them off. But the other mirror, the TP just sets it up for you, so it's way better than this one.
And then remember, guy, because you're doing it with the skill, that beginning time, the first time you play this mirror, he would have double strike.
So he'll have double strike to turn these plates since you're actually union absorbing into him, which that's what his auto says there. When this card is played with union absorb once per turn, it gets double strike. Has overwhelm 4, so you can just like overwhelm this and combo a Champa to make like a big double strike. Everybody knows that play. And then when it's played with union absorb, your opponent warps 3 cards from their hand.
So you can also tell him this Finn is not only is grinding battle card, but it's also ripping from hand as well.
Yeah. So it's like you're taking resources from your opponent constantly. You're taking their battle cards, you're taking cards from their hand, and then you're really just swinging crit with this dude. And you build up a pretty big hand pretty easy in this deck. So on to some other search cards that we play. They go well with the Finn leader. The Deborah. If your opponent has a skillless battle card of Unison,
which they will.
Black, he comes out for 1. Is limit 1, so he can only do 1 of them a turn. When he attacks, you draw a card. So against decks that like leave a bunch of battle cards out, you want to keep these. I sided these out a couple times a day. Like against decks that didn't have battle cards, you don't want this in your hand. You're never going to tap 3 for this card. Board wipe Finn.
That good Finn.
Because I mean, it's all it does is deflect, so it can't get like. You
can't
prevent
freeze
it
it
from being played. It's gonna wipe the board. It doesn't get around barrier, but we have a Finn that does that. The Union Absorber Finn. You use this one because you want to like get rid of the Unison before you like play like this dude. This one doesn't have deflect. The 7-drop has deflect. So against like matchups that are gonna like stop your guys from being played with the Unison or whatnot, you just want to take their Unison first with this so that they can't free counterplay it. And then the Finn that does get around barrier, we play 3 of that one. So you have to already have a card under your leader, and you have to have a Unison, because you have to Spirit Boost and then put a card from your leader under your leader into the drop to play him. And then he puts your opponent's board, all their battle cards ignoring barrier, under your leader. And then once per turn, you get to put a card from under your leader into the drop and switch them to active mode.
Facts.
So it gets rid of 2 of the cards that you stole from them, so they won't get them back. They keep swinging at you with, and then it wipes their whole board. That's why we play these Fins. This package is pretty good. The Boro's like the only one that doesn't really do much majority of the time.
What else we got?
And I play 3 Trunks time regulators because this also helps you set up your combo, because you need Toads in the warp and you would rather have the mirror in the warp in your hand. So you just overwhelm 3. When you overwhelm them, draw 2, warp 1. And you get 2 new cards, put the mirror in the warp, so it's out of your hand. And that's all this does.
I was about to say, because also you can use that Supreme Card to also draw cards.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different overwhelms you could use to just fill this spot that'll do that. I just like this Trunks. It's like one of my favorite overwhelm cards.
Plus the artwork's pretty lit.
It is beautiful. I don't play the Unison that came with the Finn archetype. I don't think it's very good. So I play the Bardock Unison. I only play 3 Unisons because I hate having Unisons in my hand. I just want to open with 1, and then I just want to see that 1 for the whole game. I don't want to see another one. If they kill it, then they just kill it, but it's life that you're not taking. So +1, you draw a card. -2, your opponent has to warp a card from their hand every time they attack with a battle card the next turn. And then once you Spirit Boost with him, you get to warp a card from your opponent's job. So like you can warp their Ribrianne or the Draw Ape or whatever. That barely ever comes up. You don't really ever get to do that too often.
You're probably going to just draw 1 time and swing.
Yep. Every game today except for 1, I literally used the -2 once. Every other time it was just a draw. And of course we play 1 Champa because we're playing Big Mirror.
Facts.
And then your leader can get kind of big too, depending on like how the game went and how you sequence everything out. You could end up with like 3 or 4 cards on your leader, and then your leader gets huge and you chomp on him. This is just the best black super combo.
We ain't got to talk about that.
We can't talk about this. Is the super combo used for this deck. The negates. I only play 3 Absorption of Doom, and I play 1 Petrification instead of 4 of this. Petrification is just a really good black negate, and Absorption is like your Nimbus.
Buzzy, you ever want to think about doing a 2-2 split of that, or just keep it the way it is?
I thought about it, honestly. I did think about doing a 2-2 split, because you have to pitch 1 for both of them regardless. But this one, there's not a lot of times where you have energy up for it, unless you don't want to get into like a game where you're having to stop playing and just leave your energy up for negates. So I didn't want to play a bunch of petrifications because I didn't want to get forced into a situation where like I'm not playing just to negate. So I figured I would just play 3 of this one since it's free. As long as you're a leader's fan, if your opponent has a skillless battle card, your Unison or whatever, Actually, I think this was if they have 2 or more battle cards. You pitch a card from your hand, you can play it for free, so you don't have to worry about tapping out. But we have this one just in case, like, because every deck has like a big bomb right now. So if you're like thinking that they're gonna have their big bomb the next turn, then you just save the energy for this. But you don't want to like have to play every game like that.
You ever thought about putting back brainwash in here, or is it just not needed in this deck?
I feel like it's not needed in the main board. So onto the sideboard, because I think the side for this was like pretty good. Speaking of brainwash, I sideboard it for decks like once I know like their win con, because a lot of times this card can just feel really bad against like especially AOD. Like you can easily just get single strike to death in that deck, and this card just feels bad. So like I didn't want to main deck it and have a card that just kind of felt bad in the deck all day. I play 2 Meki.
Just in case.
Yeah, just in case. There's a lot of archetype based decks like red Broly, green Gotenks. This card's good against decks like that, so I've kept that in. Also, you can call like the big Kefla, because a lot of the blue yellow decks play the big Kefla. The card's really good, so you want to call it big Kefla sometimes. Or Oceanus, the green Boo, like all those like floodgates that are really good. It's there for like the floodgates and then the big mobs. 2 Haru because yellow is really popular, and this helps you extend plays a lot. This was just for blue.
Pain
kind of
City.
like slow them down and make them use their Kefla on this instead of your 5-drop Mira. That was all the battle cards I sided. This is like my favorite side card.
Pick these up, guys.
So this is how I was able to just beat AOD, because I had these in my hand in game 2. So you play the Bobbity, and then I did the first one, worked the Bobbity. You got another Bobbity back the next turn. I just did it again and got rid of the other Bobbity. And so like you just keep them off Bobbity, and that makes that matchup a lot easier for you. So I love this card just for decks like that. And then we just played 2 Super Command 2 Protector for aggro.
Facts.
So it's simple side, but I feel like this side is like really good for Finn.
So
it kind of covers all your bases.
You don't really give a damn about hand destruction?
Nah, I don't care about hand instructions. It's like hand instructions is good and all, but it just helps me because this leader doesn't burst. So I don't mind discarding my toes from my hand so that I can have my overarm access without having to combo. And then I'm going to be ripping their hand back. So like we get into a grind game. My swings are bigger. My cards getting discarded really don't matter. I'm just going to like play them from the warp, overwhelm anyway. So if they don't take my entire hand, it doesn't matter if they rip my hand or not. So I didn't really care about hand destruction, so I didn't sign anything for that.
I don't blame you, bro. You got anything else you want to talk about with Finn people need to know about?
I think it's a really cool deck in that people underestimated it a little bit, because it definitely has like some really strong plays. It does really good against most things. I think it's a pretty good leader, honestly. I probably would keep playing Finn. I don't really care for any of the black decks coming out next set, so I'd probably just stick with Finn.
Well, while I got you here, we want to talk about that SCR that got shown yesterday. How you think that SCR would do in this deck, the way you got it constructed?
Honestly, I think it actually would be pretty good in this deck, because obviously a leader is a android. So you can just pay it for 4, and the secret is pretty good for like these kind of decks. I feel I don't know if yellow would ever play that secret rare. I don't think it's a good secret rare for yellow.
Cause they got too many other things that do the same the same thing that -4 ability does.
But for Finn, like if you don't have Pan or Kai, that would be a good one. It's gonna be a cheap secret rare. Nobody's gonna play that card. It's not that good. It'd be a good budget secret rare to pick up for this deck. Or Lineage. You could use Lineage. I probably will try it out in Finn, honestly, just because it's a Finn card. I like the card. It looks pretty.
It was. Anything else you want to tell the boys and girls before we go?
Well, first, shout out to Eternity's Portal, the locals. You know, always got to shout out the boys. Shout out to the team. We'll be going to Tampa at the end of this month. The majority of the team will be there, so we hope to meet some of you guys there that we haven't met. And that's all I have for you today.
Peace.